areas to review when it comes to your policies, right? You want to make sure you're reviewing the cost and the payment schedule, okay? And I'm going to say this out loud, like last week I was calling my car insurance. I was like, why is the price going up? Right? Because I did not pay attention, right? So it's like if I was paying attention, I could have maybe gone to a different car insurance company that would insure me for less, right? Or something. But my point being is you want to pay attention to the cost and of course the payment schedule, okay? Now, you also want to make sure you're reviewing the policy limits and coverage amounts, okay? Policy limits as in maybe you God forbid, you have some kind of critical illness, right? You need to understand, okay, when I have, God forbid, you have cancer, you're like, okay, if I have this, how much will my policy pay out, right? Like policy limit, you just need to make sure you understand your coverage amounts in that sense, right? Policy maturity dates and renewal options, okay? So if, for example, you're like, Jimmy, I only have space to get a term policy right now because it's the cheapest. I do agree it is the cheapest, but make sure you get one that's convertible. When I say convertible, I mean something that you can convert to a permanent insurance, okay? Permanent insurance would include index universal life. Like I said, it's the best. Or you can get a whole life or universal, whatever it is that works best, right? But make sure you get a kind of term that's convertible. At that point, maybe you're at the end of the term policy at year 30 or year 20. You're like, oh, Jimmy, I'm already out. Guess what? You can easily convert that policy into an IUL or something else, right? So make sure you are very aware and make sure you review your policy maturity dates and renewal options, okay? Because you don't want to get to year 21 and you're like, oh my God, I ran out of my, I ran out of coverage, right? I don't have protection anymore because now my term policy was up 20 years, in. So another review would be beneficiaries, okay? This is very, 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 very important, okay? So when you pop out a new kid, you adopt a kid, right? You want to make sure you add them to your policy. You get married, God forbid you got divorced, like things like that. You don't want your policy going to someone that you divorced like 20 years ago. Policy exclusions and conditions, right? Maybe you have a waiting period, for example, with long-term care, right? Long-term care, you do need a waiting period of 90 days and things like that. But there's also cash value growth, okay? So make sure you're looking into that, like understanding, okay, how fast is my cash value really growing? Like, is it growing at a 12% every year or a 10% every year? You need to understand those and really review them every year so you really have visibility as to what's really going on with your cash value growth, okay? And then, of course, another key area to review would be your riders, okay? You need to make sure you understand, okay, do I need to add some kind of accelerated death benefit? Do I need to add some kind of long-term care?